I'm delighted to say he's now joining us on the line. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening, Mark. You better excuse my voice. I'm a heavy cold, so if I start coughing and spluttering, that's the reason.
Well, hopefully you get better soon. I'm sure you've been working hard out on that training pitch with your new Bristol City players. Just talk to us about that decision of yours to join the club.
Well, I've sort of answered that question so many times. When you're out of work, it's quite difficult to go into interviews with football clubs and actually explain what you want to do, because there's not that many jobs in football. So the tendency is to actually agree with everybody and say, well, this is what I agree. Yeah, I'll do that. So to be fair, it was quite refreshing. I went into Bristol City, and what they wanted to do really was what I talked to quite a few football clubs and said, this is the way I think football clubs should be run. If it was my football club, this is the way I think it should be run. And I'd spoken to them before a couple of years ago, and they probably weren't ready for it. And I think now they were well on the way to try and implement some of the things that I think are important, and so that was quite refreshing. So in the end, it became quite an easy decision to make.
And obviously you've got a fantastic record as a manager for producing young players. It's been said quite publicly by the Bristol City board that that's something that they're very keen on in terms of the future of their club, and that's obviously something that they've discussed with you, the bringing through the young players and developing homegrown players. And obviously not only does that make the fans identify more so with the players you bring through, but also it's a cheaper way of doing things and a better way in some senses.
Well, financial fair play is going to come and hit a lot of clubs, and it's something that's probably been forced on them rather than anything else. But when people say developing younger players, I think you develop players. I think if that's your philosophy, your whole criteria is to develop the players that you've got. Now that might be a youngster, it might be somebody who's been experienced, and trying to get the best out of somebody at whatever age is probably what I'm good at, to be honest. So to come to a club where really that's what they want to do, and not just say it, they've actually implemented things behind the scenes that says, this is the way we're going to go. Like I say, it just seems a good fit to me at this particular time. I didn't really want to jump into the job straight after the Nottingham Forest just because it was a job, and I'd sort of not turned down to, but I'd had a couple of offers, and I was tempted because it was, to get straight back into work was really what I wanted to do, but this came out of the blue, really. Unfortunately, somebody had to lose the job for that to happen. But after talking to the board, and I'd say just sometimes you go on your gut instinct in football, and this was probably more than that. But I feel really comfortable with the decision.
When you look at what you've got in that Bristol City dressing room, and you obviously know the Championship very well with your time at Nottingham Forest and Doncaster. What can be achieved this season, or is it very much about putting together the right style of football and getting the right performances out of your team?
Yeah, it's strange because I asked the players in a similar sort of way what do they see as success, and everybody then puts, well, staying in the division or winning the game or all the outcomes, and by the end of the session, we sort of, and some of the things that we were doing, I think we were trying to say, look, success at the minute of time is to react in a positive manner. People lack confidence when they're bottom of the league and they've not won, so we can't instill that overnight. But if they react in the right manner to whatever's happening on the football pitch, win, lose or draw, then I think that we give ourselves an opportunity to tell them well done, and we've all been in situations where the results have become hard to come by, and you never forget what it's like to be a player, and what you want to do is your manager or your coach to be able to say to you, by the way, I thought you did well today, and in the short term, that's what we're trying to do with the squad.
How big a challenge is it for you to turn around the the mentality of the players? Because as you've already said, you're going into a football club where they're the bottom of the Championship. They've been struggling for points and wins. How big a challenge is there for you to change around their mental state?
So they're almost right for it. You know, you're not going to convince anybody. You know, they're almost going, well, you know, they're at a stage where, you know, they need, well, tell us what we need to do, tell us what we need to do. So to change their mentalities, I think is probably the easiest thing to do. To channel that into results, performances first and foremost, and results is going to be the hard thing, because it's just an intense division, and you know, but you have to acclimatise to it, and so it's not something that's, you know, we can play really well and not get a result, but at this minute in time, if we can play really well, then I'll have to be satisfied with that. And then once we get that at a standard, then we can talk about trying to turn those performances into points.
When you look at the Championship this season, you look at some of the results that other teams towards the bottom of the league have had, whether, you know, Peterborough have gone to teams towards the top of the league and picked up points and won games. You must be quite optimistic that you know, it's such a competitive league that with the right performance on the right day, you can pick up 3 points and get yourselves out of the mess you find yourselves in.
Yeah, you need a bit of luck as well along the way. You need people to stay fit. You know, so there's lots of components along the way that you need to fall into place. You know, people are operating on smaller squads, key injuries to people, you know, affect the balance of teams. But there is a fine line between a team that wins and teams that lose. In every game you play, and I've watched so many Championship games, and you know, there's a hair's breadth between them. Because it is that competitive, and there's a massive prize at the end of it. So, you know, a lot of teams that can spend money and improve their squads will do. But yeah, very optimistic. I think you've got to be in football. You know, we're unfortunately surrounded by you know, lots of negativity. Because that's what sells papers. Or people, you know, just want to read it, but. I think every individual football club, if it's successful, then stays positive throughout.
Okay, and just finally, Sean, before we let you go, because your voice is going, it sounds like you might need it on the training pitch tomorrow. Just finally, your first game, you're taking on Leeds. It's a team you know very well, particularly from your Doncaster days, and particularly that playoff final win. What are you expecting from the match on Saturday?
Well, I was ironic because my last game at Forest was against Leeds, and my first game was a new club against Leeds. So I suppose I hope I don't get the sack after the game. First and foremost. No, in the 4 days that we've had with the players, we just, like I say, I just want to put them in, you know, round plates in round holes. Can we defend as a team and attack as all the usual things, but you know, and I kept saying to the players, but your behaviours, it's always your behaviours. We can all say what we want to do, but what you actually do on the football pitch, and you know, you try and take the fear of it out away and say, look, you know, if we do it together, because this is a collective thing, you know, nobody's going to wave the magic wand and everything's going to be hunky dory, but. I think as a group, if we have a common aim that, you know, first and foremost in Championship, you have to be hard to beat. That's a given. And if we can do that, then we think we've got enough quality in the squad. But we haven't kept a clean sheet all season, so I think that's probably the first thing. You know, this season can be really hard to beat because, you know, we think that, you know, you'll get a chance in games, and if we can be brave enough to take them, then we can. You know, hopefully we can surprise one or two people.
That's great. Thanks ever so much for your time, Sean, particularly when you're not feeling very well. That's the new Bristol City manager there, Sean O'Driscoll, who's been on the phone here on Thursday Live on Sports Tonight. Thank you very much indeed to him.